Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Becky Page, and I am super excited to have my friend, fellow Diamond Ambassador, Robin Sullivan, be on this call. And I want to explain, if this is your first time hearing Robin teach or train, then I want to give you a little backstory, because this is actually part two of a talk that we started like 2 weeks ago. So Robin, I don't know if I've shared this with you, but I interviewed you about 2 weeks ago, just really about your journey. And you were so gracious to kind of give us a sneak peek into your story. But the other piece of it is that after an hour, you guys, Robin is in such crazy momentum that she has actually double ranked since the last time we talked to her. I think since the last time we talked, Robin, you've gone diamond silver and diamond gold, and I feel like even you're well on your way to diamond senior gold at this point. So I want to hear a little bit more about that. But guys, the impetus of this call is a follow-up, because when Robin shared her journey with us 2 weeks ago, so many of you guys got into action. I mean, literally, I remember telling my husband, Russ, I'm like, my team not only was listening, but Robin touched on some pain points for you guys. And I know that for me, we got off that call and I just kind of journaled and wrote down some areas of conviction that I had in my business after listening to Robin's story. Well, Robin came to me and she was like, girl, I had so much more to share, like so many more details. And I was like, I felt bad because I'd already had you on for an hour. And she was like, girl, we got to do part two. And I was like, here's the thing, Robin, I know you don't have time for part two. So Robin actually followed up with me twice and said, I really feel like there's so much more to share with your team and your people. So all of this to say, if you're joining us today and you haven't heard part one, then make a mental note, put it in your calendar. You need to go back and listen to the interview that we did 2 weeks ago, because that's where Robin touched on so many of the struggles that she and her team went through, and really her story, because Robin is not only an overcomer, but I was thinking this morning, I was praying about this call. Robin has two superpowers that I would kill for. The first is she's extremely organized. As an Enneagram 1, like look at her cute little office and look at me sitting in like my laundry room. She's so organized and I love that about her. But the other superpower that Robin has that I just crave is she embraces the numbers of the business. So she knows her virtual office. She knows her orders that are coming through. She's looking at when subscriptions are running. She knows the number of people that her team needs to add. She knows how to set numbers, goals for her team. And guys, if you are not a fan of daily logging into your virtual office, I'm just going to tell you, it's an absolute requirement for leadership in this business. I'm looking at Andrea Mitchell, who also has this superpower. So I so admire that about you, Robin. Anyway, there's a lot that I admire about Robin, but those two things are probably two of the things in the business I crave. So, Robin, you got off our last call and just felt like there was so much more that you needed to give our team. And I'm really glad. I texted Robin this morning and I said, I've been praying for you because my team needs a come to Jesus meeting. And I know that Robin loves that. So without further ado, I'm just going to pass the mic over to you and kind of go back to where we ended a couple weeks ago and what was still on your heart that you wanted to share.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for even wanting me to come back in and give you a few tips. When Becky asked me 2 weeks ago to do this, she had created kind of like an interview style. So she had questions that she was going to ask me. I didn't really review the questions beforehand, but I knew precisely what I wanted to say. But then we were supposed to really get into the nitty gritty details of like how my business, doubled and honestly almost tripled in points in 4 months. And we didn't get a chance to do that. And so because I'm a former educator and administrator, I'm very, very serious about giving people details of what to do and not just like inspiring and saying all the things, but like, no, this is what you now go do. Okay. So that's the reason I was a little bit relentless with Becky, because she really wasn't beating down my door to come do a follow-up just because she's a wonderful person and a wonderful friend. And she knew that like I was buried in work, but because she's my friend and I love her and Andrea, I really wanted to come back and deliver the kind of the full presentation. So, I'm going to give you guys really the blow by blow of things that I've been doing on my team, and I'll give you details on how long I've been doing those things. So you will know that for some of you, if you begin implementing these things, especially if you're growing a large team, that some of it won't happen overnight because you have to do things with fidelity in order to start seeing real growth, because you're creating all the things that a lot of the things that I did, I was also creating a really solid team culture that brought about the second that I said, hey, we're going diamond this month. My team, like Beyonce says, we were all getting in formation. Okay. So that takes years of building that type of trust and love and respect on a team for that to happen. So know that a lot of you, if you're just now starting to build, this may not happen overnight. So I want to be completely transparent with that. Okay. So first things first, one of the biggest things that I talked about on the previous call was the importance of getting people on the phone. I cannot stress that enough. It's that personal touch. It gives you the ability to build a better rapport with the person, because I'll be honest, I've been doing this almost 7 years. So most of the people I'm signing up now, outside of like my besties that have watched me for 7 years and they're like, okay, enough is enough, I'm ready to do this. Besides that, it's people that I don't really know that are coming to me to start their Plexus journey, whether it's for the health or for the business or both. And so because I don't know these people very well, the way that you can really connect with them is getting them on the phone. So I highly, highly recommend you getting on the phone, you personally signing people up. This may go against completely what you do as in your personal business or even as a team, but I'm a little bit anal retentive, so I always sign people up myself. So that's the big thing that I think our team has done really well, because we don't have a lot of, oh, I sent them my link and then they screwed up their sign up, or they're a preferred customer, or no, they're retail or whatever. We don't have any of that going on because my whole entire team does it the same exact way. Okay. And everybody has a subscription on, like it's pretty solid. So that's the first thing, is getting people on the phone when you're wanting to sign them up. And really, honestly, in general, taking a lot of the conversation on Instagram or Messenger or whatever, taking it offline as soon as you can. I know for me, third-party tools are key, and kind of that in-between space of before I can get them on the phone, I may send you a microbiome video, I may send you the triplex video. Now, the kids multivitamin and microbiome video, I may send those things to them in the in-between time, but I'm really just asking people, what are your health goals? And when do you have an opportunity to get on the phone? It really cuts out a lot of this back and forth. And I think you tend to lose people a lot of times when it's this back and forth conversation online. So getting the conversation, taking it offline as fast as you can, I believe is a lot more beneficial in closing the deal fast. Okay. Closing the deal and not hemming and hawing around. Okay. The other thing that we have been doing for a good bit is we do a Tuesday night team call. We've been doing this for at least 4.5, 5 years. I think I said this in the previous call, so forgive me if some of these things are coming up again. But our team calls generally are not about specifics for Plexus. I kind of leave that up to our corporate pages, the back office. I'm really trying to help expand people's mindset and help people to start thinking like a leader and thinking like an entrepreneur and not an employee. And so a lot of my trainings are very high level, like it's kind of like a macro view instead of a micro view of how to work the business, the ins and outs and the details. I feel like the sponsor and the person individually as their own independent ambassador can figure out a lot of those things. There will be times, like we added almost 900 people last month. So of course I needed to come in and do just a blow by blow product training, right? But I don't do a lot of those trainings all the time. I'm primarily focusing on building leaders. So I do a lot of leadership talks for my Tuesday team calls. Right after that, I do an accountability call. It's about 45 to 50 of my leaders that are a part of that group. So it's a pretty large group. And they hop on that call right after the team call. This is truly accountability. So did I talk about this before, Becky? I didn't. Okay. You can go ahead and just say, like, you can do this if it's something I already said. I can't remember what we talked about 2 weeks ago. But the accountability call has been really beneficial. And it's been beneficial because everybody knows right now our company and most of our teams are in full momentum. But that's not always the case, right? If you've been around a while, you know there's like spikes and dips in your business. There's peaks and valleys. It's very normal for you to go into kind of slow seasons. And honestly, if I'm being totally fair, normally right after a convention, you think it's supposed to be like gangbusters, you're supposed to be excited. And a lot of times we go into the summer slump. It may be different this year just because of the pandemic and just the whole, like, every day's Groundhog's Day. But in normal circumstances, the summer ends up being like slower than you think it would be because kids are out for the summer and people are in, holiday mode and hanging out by the pool and going and doing fun things and vacation. And so that accountability group really kept my business strong and going in those slower seasons. And so really all that entails is the people that are in the accountability group, they have to have a subscription set for the 15th. And I'm not even going to get into that, but it's really for reasons for compression. I feel like if you're a leader in the business, you should be at 100 PV by the 15th at the very latest. So you can only be in this group if you have that. Okay. And I explained that very early on in my business for my leaders. And I have silvers in this group. I have senior rubies in this group. I have emeralds in this group. So, everybody is on the same page with that. So I educate my people very early on, like, you treat people the way you want to be treated. So if you don't want your points dropping mid-month, then you be the person that does the right thing and you make sure you have an order that goes through by the 15th. Doesn't matter if it's their order or if it's someone else's order, but you got to be at 100 PV, and they have to screenshot that every single week to show that it's in place. Okay. So that's something that they put in the accountability chat group. It's a whole chat group, how they turn in their information, their accountability. So they turn that in, and they also turn in their list. So we require them to have a list of 30 people that they reach out to every week and 30 follow-ups. So essentially that breaks down, y'all, to 5 reach outs or 6 people that they're reaching out to 5 days a week. Okay. So let's just say, it doesn't matter what days of the week you work, but let's just say you work only your business Monday through Friday. Okay. Every single day, Monday through Friday, you reach out to 6 new people. You also follow up with 6 people. It doesn't matter if you do all 30 of those in one day or if you do all 30 in 5 days. It doesn't matter, or 7 days, but that's really the thought process behind it. Is 30 people is very doable. And guys, just FYI, that's just to keep your business afloat. Like, that's just to keep your funnel kind of full. But if you're wanting to go fast track, I tell people straight up, you've got to be reaching out to 10, 20, sometimes even 30 people a day, depending on how fast you want your business to grow. So I'm very, very clear in the very beginning when people tell me, well, where do you want to go in your business? And they tell me, oh, I want to be emerald in 6 months. I'm like, okay, so this is a whole different track that you're going on. And it's not this accountability track. Like, you're going to be in the accountability group, but your numbers need to be double, triple, quadruple that. So just know that setting those expectations early on and being very clear with your people as you're building up leaders is going to make it where they don't have these false expectations and then they not be met. And then they're disappointed, like, oh, you told me that I would get to this rank by this time if I did X, Y, and Z, and you weren't really clear with them. So that's the accountability group. When they hop on the call, it really has become kind of like this insiders group. So it's a way for me to show them that I appreciate them and their voice as leaders. So let's just say we decide, well, we're not going to do 3-day challenges for the next 2 months because everybody's just signing up with the $9.99, the open enrollment. So we don't need to do that. So what we're going to do with the 900 people that have joined our team in the past month, we're going to invite them to do a 3-week summer slim down challenge. Well, instead of me unilaterally making that decision as a leader, I then ask my leaders on the accountability call. I start to pass ideas and toss ideas around with them. So that empowers them as leaders and makes them feel like they have a voice and that they're being heard, because they are. I'm not just throwing it out there and in my mind, I've already made a decision anyway. I like to pass ideas and toss ideas around to them too. And so the accountability call is for that. The accountability call is also, I put people on the hot seat about once a month. And the hot seat simply is, they are telling me some issue that they're having in their business, like a struggle, like I've been reaching out to this girl and this is going on. And so they are basically, we call it hot seat because they're on this call with 45, 50 other leaders, and they're asking me a question, a stumbling block that they're having in their business, and I'm able to dissect that stumbling block and help them to overcome it. And a lot of times, you know, it will be something that they probably did incorrectly or could have done differently or could have done a little bit better. But the learning opportunity is that everybody gets to hear what this person is doing and then how we can make the situation better or maybe rectify whatever issue or stumbling block they're actually having. So we do the hot seat, and we also share wins. So we'll just randomly say, you know, hey, what went, someone popcorn out, what wins have you had this week? And someone will say, hey, I just signed up somebody after 3 years of following up with them. And then they'll give kind of the details of how they close this deal. So them sharing that authentic experience that happened in their business also gives other people insight on how they can then prospect differently, talk to potentials differently, that sort of thing. So that's really the purpose of the call, is to create kind of an additional community of accountability of leaders that are really wanting their businesses to move forward. So that's been going on for at least 3 years now. So the team calls have been going on about 4 or 5 years, every single week with Fidelity. Then the accountability calls about the last 3 years. Okay. The next thing that we do pretty consistently is we have the series of calls that we do for our potential. So I will say this, corporate has always had lots of, especially in the past year or so, they've had lots of really great opportunities for you to plug people into third-party validation tools. So hopping onto calls and doing the Wellness Wednesday and all the things that corporate has been doing is great. But there's something like being able to say, hey, this is my friend Robin, or this is my girlfriend that I went to high school with, or these are ladies that I spend every week with, or whatever. So we have our own call that we do every single Thursday. It's for our potentials, okay? And those calls are all themed. So like last week we had a Men of Plexus call, incredible. We had the week before that, I think we did more than what meets the eye. So we had a call where I had people that shared when they joined Plexus, what they joined for, which is 99% of the time for their health. And then how once they joined and got plugged in, how they discovered that Plexus was way more than what meets the eye. And so it's building belief in the existing people on your team because they're hearing these incredible stories. But it's also helping to just plug people into another opportunity to invite people. And so I kind of have the same theory as Bob Heilig and probably Rita Davenport. I'm sure all the network marketing professionals have all said this, but like we will talk to a potential and we will follow up with them until they tell us to kick rocks or they die, one of the two. Like there is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like you're going to stay on the list until you tell me to like lose it, like get away, move out of the way, or something very tragic happens to you. Okay. So the reason why we are always coming up with these new opportunities is because that's what the follow-up is for. Like there's truly fortune in the follow-up. So if you keep inviting to these events, at some point you're either going to break them down and they're like, okay, let me join this call. And they don't know what they don't know what they don't know. That's the thing. And so once they join a call like this, they're so inspired, they begin to expand their mindset about what this opportunity could mean for them. So that's every single Thursday we do that. The other thing, those calls are pretty highly attended. We have normally about 150 people on those calls. So it's just a lot. It's a lot of really great energy that comes from that too. So in my mind, it's multifaceted. Like there's multiple reasons why we continue to do this call every single week. The other thing we do is there's a business building packet that I have anybody that wants to build a business and anybody that wants one-on-one time with me, they have to fill this out once a month, and they turn it in to get coaching from me. Okay. I don't have a specific, in my slower seasons of my business, I will coach these specific people that turn in the sheet at least once a month. I'll get on a coaching call with them. But now that we're in full momentum, it's not necessarily guaranteed that they're going to get a call, but they'll get a voice clip from me when they turn in their sheet. I will start to unravel some things that I saw in the packet that they turned in. Okay. So what this packet is, it's our team, my business building page is just for business builders. It's called Leading with Excellence. It's called Leading with Excellence Business Building Packet. It's an announcement at the top of our business page, and anybody can access this if they're in the business building group. Okay. So I have a regular team page for any happy wholesaler, and then I have a business builder page. So this packet, it came from the Jules page. I don't know who did it. I don't know, but all I know is that I saw it. I thought it was amazing. So I just picked it up and started using it. I changed it a little bit, but for the most part, it's somebody else's creation. I just don't know who posted it, so I can't give them credit, but it's amazing. So this packet is about 16 pages. They print it out. I usually introduce this packet to any person that begins to build the business, because some of the pages are like the stuff that Brooke Hemingway created, and then Plexus Corporate kind of tweaked it. It's almost like the flow charts. I remember a couple years ago, we got all these flow charts of how to talk to your people, how to talk to your potentials, all that. It has all that. It has like the tracks, like what buckets are people going in? Are they happy wholesalers? Are they trying to go fast track? Are they trying to just casually share? It says all those things. It has a whole troubleshooting page, amazing page. Like if they're having this issue with the products, this is how you troubleshoot here. So it's all these things in this packet, but the first 2 pages are the pages that I have my leaders print out, fill out, and then screenshot and send back to me. Okay. And the reason why these 2 pages are so beneficial is because they're monthly goal reset pages. Okay. So every single month, every single one of you, if you're building a business, you should be doing a monthly reset. Okay. You know where you ended your month last month. If you didn't, that's a huge part of building your business. You got to know where you ended, right? And then how you're moving forward in the next month. So this business building packet, those first 2 pages, it essentially says like, how many ambassadors did you add last month? How many customers? How many did your team add? And then then it says, what do you want for this month? And then it says, how much did you make last month? Well, how much do you want to make? And this is why this is such a great training tool. Multiple things. One is when someone says, oh, I made $300 last month, and this month I want to make $1,000, but I'm only going to add like 5 more people this month than I did last month. Well, then there's a training opportunity. That's a teaching opportunity for me, because I'm like, well, you're not going to make an extra $700 this month if you just add 5 more people. Like, there's got to be a game plan here. And what most people don't understand is that there's strategy to any business. There's strategy to any business, even Plexus, right? So you've got to really break this down and help your new and budding leaders on your team to understand that just sharing Plexus is not going to be enough. Like, you've got to share, you've got to follow up, you've got to share authentically your story on social media. But at the end of the day, you also have to have a plan for how you're going to fill in the gap for where you are and then where you want to be. So that packet really helps me to unpack a lot of those, or discover a lot of maybe those blind spots that people have in their business, and you're not realizing it unless you're in conversation specifically about those things. The other thing that I do as well in those first 2 pages of that packet, it'll say, what are your strengths? What are your 3 setbacks? What's preventing you from reaching your goals? Then it starts to unpack some of the mindset issues that a lot of people tend to have. And so I'm able to have, like, what my team calls it, are sofa sessions. I used to be a therapist, so they're like, okay, Robin, she's going to get me on the sofa and we're going to talk about this, because I will really start to unpack, well, why do you feel this way? Talk to me a little bit about this. Explain this to me. And so it creates so many rich conversations that you can have with people. And these are people that you want to develop. Like, a big part of being successful at this business is developing leaders. You're not just going to inherit a bunch of leaders. Like, if you're lucky, you might do that. But real leadership, the reason why, you get to the rank of diamond and make the amount of money that you make at diamond is because you have shown an incredible leadership ability. And so with leadership comes a lot of responsibility in you helping to get people to reach their full potential. And this is the way that you can facilitate doing that a whole lot easier. Okay. So that business building packet has been incredibly vital for the growth of our team. Okay. And now it's duplicatable. Everybody on my team uses it. Yes.
And I'm blowing up privately from all the people who want you to send me a link of that. So will you make a note to do that? Thank you.
Yes, I will. I'm writing it down right now. Send to Becky BBP. Okay. So the next thing that we do is a prayer call. We do it every Thursday morning, 6:30 a.m. I do believe that prayer is powerful, and I think it's instrumental in the growth of your business and just in every aspect of your life. And so I have a really amazing pastor couple. Went to middle school and high school with them, and they facilitate this prayer call every single Thursday. We have about 20, 25 people hop on every single morning at 6:30 every Thursday morning. So I feel like that's been really great for our team. It just A, builds community. B, it improves the spiritual growth and the level of the faith and of the people in your business. And our whole philosophy, and particularly my philosophy as a leader for my team, is that I'm trying to create like the whole healthy person. So healthy physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, financially, like all pillars of health. That's where I'm trying to help people to grow. So that's why this is important. The next thing is that I have leaders facilitating power hours all throughout the week. So we have our Saturday soldiers. They hop in on Saturdays at 6:30 in the morning. We have power hours on Wednesday nights. We have power hours all the time. I'm never on any of those calls, by the way, y'all. This is all my leaders. They do it. And they're happy to do it. They love doing this because it builds capacity within the leaders on your team. It helps them to see, oh, I have a role to play on this overall team. And so it just empowers them in a way that's amazing. And that's precisely why I don't hop on the calls. I work my business all throughout the day, so I don't need to have a power hour, but they love it. They absolutely love it. We've been doing that for probably 3 or 4 years. We've been doing all this stuff way before corporate started doing all the things. So that's the reason why we just kept them in place. Okay. The other thing we do is, I'm trying to make sure I do all this. Okay. I have a series that I do in my Happy Wholesaler page. My big team page is called Why I Said Yes to the Biz. So what I do as I empower about 5 or 6 of my leaders. I call them my ride or dies. They hop in every single Friday, and we call it Freedom Friday, but it's Why I Said Yes to the Business. They will hop on and do a Facebook Live within the page. And this is really the whole purpose, is to cast vision to happy wholesalers on why people said yes to the business. Okay. So they then interview 2 people from our team, and they'll do the screen share. You remember they took that away after a little while? They took away the ability for you to go in to do Facebook Live and you just share your screen with somebody else. You can now do that again. It's like they updated it again somehow, and now you can do it. So we've been doing that. And it's super fun, y'all, because it's like an interview. So it's like, you'll invite the person into the call, to the live, and people love, like, this is more effective than I think Zoom is, because there are going to be still some people, even though everybody and their grandmother knows what Zoom is at this point, that's been a huge hindrance in the past in our business. And now it's completely opened the floodgates because everybody knows what it is. So it's been a benefit, but there are still going to be people that are just honestly too lazy to click and join in, right? So that's the reason why we try to hit people all types of different ways. So we do this Facebook Live for those people that will just never hop on a Zoom, okay? Because people are nosy and they're voyeurs, and they'll click on a video if they see it live, or they'll go and listen to the playback if they see somebody's face or a split screen of something. So that's what we do every single Friday. This is probably an 18-week series. So this has been going on for a while, and we'll continue. And the great thing about it is we keep building up new leaders. So now we have this endless list of people that we can interview. And then on top of that, I share this responsibility with about 6 or 7 of my other leaders. So I only have to do this every 6 weeks. So I only have to host it every 6 weeks. That makes sense. And then I have another leader on my team that she's just good at graphics, and she's a helper. She's yellow, so she likes helping in any way. So we're like, okay, you do all 18 of the graphics, and she does all 18 of the graphics. I mean, it's amazing. So it's when you start to empower people in this way and you play on people's strengths, this doesn't have to, I know it probably feels like, oh my God, this chick is doing a whole lot to get to diamond, but it's not overwhelming when you empower people to step up and lead as well. Let's see. The other thing that I do y'all want me to keep going? Okay. I don't want to bore y'all. So if I'm saying stuff that's like, this is not really relevant to me, I'll stop. Let's see. So do y'all want me to talk about, I will say, okay, I'll say this, and then I'm going to break down what happened to get to diamond. Do y'all want to hear like what happened in the past 2 to 3 months to get to diamond? Okay. So 4 things that literally I know got my team, it's kept my team always in a strong place, even when we were stabilized, but not really growing a ton, but it's also really it's created this massive, massive momentum, and it's 4 different things. Okay. So write this down. 1 is ATM. Ad tag message is a beast if you know how to use it and you do it with fidelity. Okay, so we have a prospect page, I guess, like you would call it, prospect, potential, customer page, whatever. It's not for, it is for anybody that joins your team too, but it's the purpose of it that really it was birthed out of compliance telling us that we couldn't be the Wild Wild West on Facebook anymore years ago. And so we're like, oh, rut-row, we got to create something where we can tell the real story of Plexus and what these products do for people. So we created this page years ago, and over time it's just evolved. We have like 7,000 people on this page. Anytime someone talks to someone about Plexus, ever, we add them to that page, okay? We add them to that page, and then and the reason why I'm saying ad tagging and messaging is crucial is because we don't ask for permission. We add them, we tag them, and we message them. Because in our mind, we believe that we are providing so much value to people in that page by educating them about blood sugar, gut health, and inflammation, that if they really don't want to be educated at all, they can easily just not accept the invite. Because you have to accept the invite to get in any of these groups, right? Y'all realize that, right? So, so we don't ask for permission. We just add them, tag them, and message them. Now, are we going and spamming everybody in our Facebook and adding everybody that we know? No, we would never do that. But anytime we ever get in a conversation with someone about Plexus, the first thing we do is we add them to that page. We tag them on a specific post or something that would be beneficial or resonate with them based on what their health goals are, or we have a template post or really an announcement that's at the top of the page is called Plexus in a Nutshell. That really does give everything you need to know about Plexus in a nutshell. And so we'll tag them on that if it's not something specific that we know about them yet, like if they have fibromyalgia, lupus, Lyme disease, whatever. And then we message them and we let them know, hey, Susie, I just added you to this amazing informational and resource page, private. We do always say private because a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to be tagged on something. If it's private, it's going to be public. So we let them know it's a private page, and we let them know that we added them to the page and that we want them to accept the invite. This is the name of the page. So be looking out in your notifications to accept that invite. And I tagged you on something specific that I think might resonate with you. Let me know when you take a look at it. And then that's just another way for us to follow up. The reason why this is so beneficial, you guys, is because there are so many people that you will talk to about Plexus and they will not bite the first, the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, the seventh, the eighth, the ninth, the 10th, the 11th time that you talk to them, they will not bite. But when they are in that private page, you are dripping on them. Okay, you're constantly dripping on them. And it's a very passive, non-aggressive way to drip on people, right? The other thing that's really great about that page is that we do all of our 3-day challenges in there. We do our slim down challenges there. Everything's in that page. So they're just constantly getting fed information. And that's how I signed my, my Jewel that went Emerald last month in 10.5 months. She went Jewel. She joined me July 15th of 2019. I had been reaching out to her and following up with her for 4 years. I knew she would be amazing if she decided to do it. So I got her on the phone. I sent her a package. I sent her magazines. I sent her brochures. I sent her samples, all the things. And it wasn't until I posted something in that page that I would not have posted on my personal wall. It was about thyroid issues. And she piped in and said, me, I have thyroid issues. Had no idea she did. And at that point is when I was like, nope, you're joining. No questions about it. It's time for you to get started. It's time for you to stop hemming and hawing. And literally 10 months after that, she went Emerald. So it's such an amazing resource. So if you're not utilizing ad tag message, I highly recommend that you do that. Okay. The other thing is send, share, and invite. Obviously you guys know that, but just the constant, if you train people when you're onboarding them on, this is how you ATM, this is how you utilize this resource, this is how you send, share, and invite, constantly sending, sharing, and inviting people to different things, different opportunities, learn more about Plexus, doing launch events once they finally join, doing that within the first week or 2 of them joining is key in my opinion, especially with this new Fast Start program. I mean, we would be crazy not to be doing launch events for our people right at the very beginning. I'll talk about that in just a second. And then consistent posting. If they're doing those 4 things, ATM, SSI, send, share, and invite, launch events, and consistently posting, you will always help your people to keep their funnel full. Always, always, always. Always keep their funnel full in those 4 activities that are income producing, okay? Now, I'm going to talk about the launch events. Did I talk about the launch events before specifically? Okay.
Yeah, you know
So
what, Robin, you told us briefly because you did tell us that you make your people invite 100 people to them. So go back
okay.
and why don't we touch on that again? Because I think those details need to be repeated.
Okay. So when someone joins, again, another reason why it's very easy if you're on the phone with them when you're signing them up is for you to mention to them, you know, especially now with these crazy bonuses, but especially now more than ever, this new Fast Start program, like total game changer. I always mention to them, hey, would you be interested in learning how to make $660, you know, this month by just simply sharing or referring 3 friends, you know, and I even have changed kind of my verbiage. Like I'll call it a referral program. You know, people are real familiar with referral programs. So I'm just not using vernacular that's like, hey, do you want to work the business? When you say all that kind of stuff in the beginning, it tends to scare people away. I never, ever, ever use the word sell because that's just like a bad word in people's minds for whatever reason. So they normally will say, yeah, I'm interested in now, just like Tall Robinson said, more people are much more open to different streams of income and other opportunities because we're in a downturn economy. There's so much uncertainty. So now more than ever, people on my team have become way more bold since COVID-19 of really talking about this in their initial conversation when they're signing people up. Okay. So again, I don't pressure anybody. I just let them know this is, you know, this is something that I'm offering them. This is something that the company is offering them. And if they choose to, they can take advantage of it. So when they say, yeah, I'm interested, then I tell them exactly what it looks like. I say, okay, all you have to do is make a list of 100 people. And when you make a list of 100 people, you will send that list of names back to me. I'm very, very particular and I'm a stickler about this because I want to set my people up for success. I don't want to set people up for failure. And I know the law of averages and I know numbers. And I know that if someone of general, like has decent influence, if they invite 100 people to a Zoom call, they're probably going to get a 10% attendance rate at best. If they have a little bit higher level of influence, they will probably have a 20% attendance rate. Therefore, if I want somebody to go super silver or senior silver in their first month, which that's always my goal, I want people to go either gold or senior silver at minimum in their first month. Okay. So if that's my goal for them, and I say that kind of loosely, y'all, because my job as a leader is to cast vision for people. So I don't tell them, well, you need to do this, that, and the other. This is what I have in my head. Like if I see potential in you, it's my job to try to grow that potential in you, right? So I should be able to see as a leader, have vision to see things that you can't see. That's what makes good leaders great, right? That I can see something that you probably can't see in yourself just yet. And if you can't, it's my job to try to extract that out of you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, this is a way that I'm going to set you up for success. You're going to make this list of 100 people and they will say, oh, I don't know that I can do that. I don't know that I don't have 100 friends. I don't know 100 people. And I'll just go to their Facebook and I'll be like, well, you have 2,500 friends on Facebook. So clearly, you know, at least 100 people. And then that will kind of shut them down real quick. And they'll be like, okay, I guess I'll come up with my list of 100. So they go come up with their list of 100. If they do not come up with the list of 100, I do not do the call, period, because I want them to be successful. So when they come to me and they say, oh, here's my list of 55, I'm like, oh, wow, you are 45 away. Keep going, girl. You got this. Boo, you are halfway through. And they were like, oh, okay. And so I just have them keep going until they get to 100, y'all. Seriously. Because I've done these so many times now, and people on my team have done these so many times that we know what the law of averages are. They're not going to have 15, 20, 30% attendance rate. Okay. The average person is just in their level of influence. Okay. Now you might, like my dream teamer that went emerald in 10 months. I knew she was a heavy hitter. If I wasn't doing this back then 10 months ago. I physically went to Houston to do her launch event. But had I done it online, I would have known, hey, she could have invited 50 people and 25 people wouldn't have showed up because she had such high influence. Everybody's not like that though. And so you can't make assumptions about people either. So that's why it has to be the same standard for everybody. Okay. So 100 people minimum. They invite their people. Then what I do, my responsibility is that I make their graphic. I have them send me a photo to put their graphic together. I create the Zoom link. I also send them the verbiage of what they should say to their people. I have them tweak that verbiage because you want it to sound like them. You don't want it to sound like you. So I have them tweak the verbiage, and we'll go back and forth. Just like Andrea said on her amazing training for onboarding and fast starting people, take the time to do this. Just like the first post, do the first post the same way Andrea said, you do the same way with this invite. You want to make it sound like them. So they're going to send it back to you, because I can guarantee you this, a lot of times people will change one word, right? They'll change one word at the end, and it's very open-ended. Like, I want to put the ball back in their court. So I asked them specifically, hey, will you be willing to support me on this call? I would love for you to attend. Let me know if you can make it. Not, I hope you can make it. That's too open-ended. So just changing that one little line completely changes the messaging. Does that make sense? So that's why they have to send it back to me for final approval. Then I send it back to them. Once we're done, they send it. They send out the graphic with the verbiage. They do that for all 100 people, okay? If they're really wanting to be a heavy hitter in their business, I say you need to come with a list of 200 and so forth and so on. So that's how we do that. Then they get on the launch event. We set the date. When we do the launch event, they always intro me in, right? They say, hey, thank you guys for hopping on the call. They introduce themselves. They thank their people for hopping on. And then once they do that, they share why they started Plexus. Sometimes they'll have a testimony. Sometimes they'll be so new they don't have a testimony. So sometimes they will share what they have experienced. Sometimes they won't share. They'll just say, this is what I'm hoping to experience. But then that's where I come in, because once they introduce me, I give my full testimonies. I give my health and my business testimony. And then I do break down the products, okay? So I keep this little bag here. Oops. I'm in my office, so I have this little anthropology bag with all my products, and I'll sit them up on my table. So this is my little makeshift, way to do my launch event for all my new people. I only do this for my level 1. So if you're thinking, whoa, she does this for every single person on she, no, this is duplicatable. I only do this for my level 1s, and they begin to duplicate this down. I even will record it for them, because I'll be like, okay, I did it for you one time. Now you got to go study what I did, and you do it yourself. Okay. And sometimes if the person is just brand new and like out the gate, they shared, like, they haven't even gotten their products, they don't have a testimony, anything, they do it like within their first week, I will sometimes combine, I'll do the first launch event just for that one person, right? Because I want to make them feel special. But then after that, I will say, like, I'm doing a launch event. It's no longer called a launch event though. It's just another online event that I'm doing for maybe 3 or 4 of my new ambassadors. I'm doing it all at the same time after I do it for them, for just that one person by themselves that first time. Does that make sense? So they're kind of we're combining this call. So they're making it look like they have their own invite and they're doing their own thing. But then when they hop on the call, it may be 30 or 40 people on the call. We're doing it together just to kill multiple birds with one stone, right? So I pull out all my products. I break down the triplex. I break down the triplex because in my community, people really need to understand the value of spending $120 on supplements. Like, they need to understand why these are so effective, why they really get to the root causes of people's health issues. They need to understand leaky gut. They need to understand intestinal permeability. They need to understand all the things that we already know about Plexus. A lot of people still are very much so in the dark about why those things are even important for overall health. All they think of is, I need to lose some weight. I don't understand why I'm bloated. I'm like, well, if you get to the root, you'll understand that. So I really explain the triplex in depth, okay? After that, I break down the other products very quickly. So I'll be like, Edge is for, energy and focus. And then I'll pull out the other one. This one is for, what's nerve? Nerve is for rebuilding new nerve growth factor. This is for people who has neuropathy or nerve damage or pins and needles tingling sensation. Great product, game changer. Take the loading dose. Then I'll go to the next one. I'll go super fast, right? Because I'm not trying to spend an hour talking about product. And then I'll end it with, this is how you get started. And I just go through the whole spiel of Costco membership, blah, 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 blah. Right now it's $9.95. It's $89, $179. You get bigger bang for your buck with $179. So we always try to sell the $199 welcome pack, but we obviously give both options. Okay. And then we close. And then at the end, this is what we do at the end. This is key. A lot of times the person that has hosted the call, the newbie, they'll say, well, hey, comment below. Because if it's 10 people or 15 people on the call, they need to know who they need to close with right then and there, right? They need to know who they're going to get on the phone with right after the call. So it'll be like, comment below in the comment section. If you're ready to go ahead and get started right now, I'll call you. This will know the order in which I need to call people after the call. So you're kind of creating this sense of urgency. So you ask them to comment below. The other thing that we do, if I have people that they're like, I want to earn my 660 like tomorrow, like I'm ready to do this. I'll be like, okay, well, a great way to do this is to create an even bigger sense of urgency. And since we have this 995 membership, you can say for the first 6 people who join tonight that you will cover their other additional 990. You will cover their full membership because the membership will be free. So you'll PayPal them or Venmo them the 995. So guess what? They get 6 people in one night. All they did was invest at $60, but they earned $660 because they went silver. They got the $250 bonus, the $100 bonus, and now you got all this crazy fast start stuff going on. And then guess what that's going to do? It's going to encourage your people to go for the 10, to go for senior silver. That's why this is genius with this new fast start program that we have. Like, we'd be crazy not to be doing this for all of our newbies. So this has really been the singular thing that got us to Diamond in 2 months. Okay. So I'm going to break down what my points were. Do y'all want to hear how bad it was over here at Team Made for More?
Hey, I want to hear it. And while you're telling us, I want you to be thinking in your head about people on this call who have struggled and are maybe coming back, and they need some, because what y'all might not know is that Robin is also a trained John Maxwell coach. And I want you to be thinking about people who have mindset issues and needing to lift their leadership lit. Because y'all, when she shared with me this breakdown of her points, it filled me with hope, but also anxiety, because I was like, I gotta bust it. And I'm not busting it to prove anything to anyone else, but I needed to bust it for myself. So Robin.
Okay.
Interruption.
So no, you're good. So I'm a total open book when it comes to points. I feel like people get very disillusioned thinking, oh, she's a sapphire and blah, blah, blah. And that's like, okay, whatever, you know? So in December, I ended my month at 1,679 points. Our team added 27 people. I probably added 7 of those 27, just FYI. I'm a super heavy recruiter almost every single month. So a lot of the heavy lifting for years was coming from me, okay? In January, we ended our month at 1,818. We had added 87 people in January. So we were kind of picking up speed a little bit, you know, getting from under that, all the craziness with the holidays, and Super Saturday obviously helped. And then February, I ended at 1,881. We had added only 64 people. So we went back a little bit in recruitment, but I think it's when a lot of the dust settled with the Apple Watches. You know, everybody was gung-ho for the new use. Everybody's trying to get the Apple Watch. So I think we slowed down a little bit because of that. So we added 64. Then in March, our team ended the month at 2,188. Okay. We added 109 people in March. Okay. And still, you know, we still weren't gangbusters because, you know, COVID-19 hit and everybody's flipping going crazy, right? Like, what the heck is happening here? So, but we did go up. We had an increase from February to March. We had an increase of 307 points. So that gave me a little bit of hope. I'm like, okay, increase of 307 points. That's not bad, right? I will say this. Actually, let me back up. When I hit Sapphire, and y'all heard me speak on stage in June of 2019, I had not reached back to 3,000 points, Sapphire points, at all again until April of 2020. Okay? So there is hope. There is hope to completely change the face of your business in 30, 60, 90 days. And now is the time to do it. Because at the end of April, I wasn't even trying to re-rank y'all. I wasn't thinking I would go up 2,188 to 3,000. I honestly was not thinking that. I was just trying to help my team and working with my team. That's all I was doing. I was not thinking about re-ranking. Not that I didn't want to re-rank, but you know, honestly, going from Emerald to Sapphire, it's not like it's different because I'm still a jewel. You know what I mean? So I ended at 3,499 in April. Okay. We had an increase of 1,311 points from March to April, and our team added 440 ambassadors. Okay. Now, at that point on April 30th, I was like, okay, Lord, what do you want me to do? Because I did not expect to end at 3,499. And so May 1st, after I prayed about it, on April 30th, I woke up and I said, okay, God, it's time to go diamond. And that was really what I heard the Lord tell me. Like, it's not time to like do it for 2 months to prepare another 2 months. It's like time to do it in May. And so I knew that I had obviously 1,000-point increase that I had to make, right? And it's always scary, you know, because you're like, we had a really great month in April, but that might have been like a fluke. You know, who knows what's going to happen in May? Like, you just never know, right? And so I was really scared, but I do everything afraid. And so I put it out on my team page. I went live in my business builder page that next day on May 1st and said, we're going to be a diamond team like this month. And because of all the things that I've done for so many years, they were all on board. They were like, oh yeah, it's happening. It's done deal. Okay. So I knew pretty much May 1st it was going to happen. I didn't know how it was going to happen, but I knew it was going to happen. So at the end of May, I ended at 6,163 points. To be diamond, you have to be at 4,500. So we built a whole nother emerald team beyond the 4,500. My increase in points was 2,664 points, and we added 861 people. This month, we have added about 750 people, and we still have about 8-9 days left of the month. So we are in full on serious momentum. Now, what I want to explain is this, that when you make a decision that you're going to go for something, and this is what I learned years ago from John Maxwell, so I'm just going to take it directly from him. What I didn't do was I didn't stop raising the bar. I continued to raise the bar. A lot of people on the 28th, from the 27th at 11 p.m., about 11:40, I had enough subscriptions go through on the 28th where I was like at 4679. So I was past diamond. I was at 4,500 points plus. I was tired, y'all. I was tired. Okay. I was weary. I wanted to take a rest. I wanted to enjoy, what was the weekend? What was the holiday? Memorial Day weekend with my family. I wanted to sit with a glass of Prosecco and celebrate the fact that it had taken me 6.5 doggone years to get to diamond. But guess what? What I saw was an opportunity to really show my team that when you raise the level of your own expectation, what the Lord will do when you work like it depends on you and you pray like it depends on him. That literally blew the lid off of anything that I could ever. It's the best decision I've made in my business is when I said, I'm not going to sit on my loins and celebrate diamond because we still have 3 days left. And I didn't even know that we were going to hit 6,000, y'all. I had no idea we were going to do diamond re-entry in 3 days. But when I did that, when I said, this is what we're doing, like your team is looking for you to lead them. So lead them. Raise the level of expectation. When you raise the bar, guess what? They're going to raise the bar. It's the same thing we do with our kids. If you have high expectations for your kids, guess what? Your kids are going to rise to the level of your expectation. This is in every aspect of our life, right? So you set the bar. That's what I did on April 30th. I set that bar. I then declared the bar on May 1st, okay? And then we hit the bar on May 28th when we hit 4,500 points with those reorders. And then I raised the bar again, and then we hit the bar again, and then you raise the bar again. I raised the bar again when I said, I'm going to go gold in a week on my reentry leg. I was tired, y'all. I'm tired. But guess what? When you begin to set these crazy expectations, your team is like, oh, if she can do this, I can do this. And so now, y'all, from April, May, and June, I just want to tell you, these are just my level ones. We've had this going on all levels of our team, okay? But these are just my personal level ones. In April, I had 2 ambassadors join at the end of April. Both went senior silver in 6 days, okay? They added 10 ambassadors in 6 days. I had someone join in May, on May 20th, and in 7 days, she added 38 ambassadors. She will be Ruby by the end of this month. She is senior gold today. I have to do her announcement as soon as I get off of this call. She signed up on May 20th, y'all, okay? I also have my best friend who watched me for almost 7 years work this business while she worked another MLM and never thought she would join me. And I prospected her like a crazy person. Never was interested until I went diamond. And she joined me May 28th. She went senior silver May 29th. And she went gold 3 days ago during convention. Okay. I have my cousin who joined me at the end of May. She went senior silver. Okay. These are all my level ones. In June, I've had 2 people join me on my reentry leg who will probably likely get to gold or very close to it before the end of this month. Okay. So that's what I mean by raising the bar of your own expectations and people rising to the occasion. Because when they see that you set the same standard for yourself as you're setting for them, they literally think they can do the impossible. It's also about breathing and speaking life over your people. I do this constantly through those coaching sessions, those reset goal setting questions that they fill out. That's an opportunity for me to speak life over my people. So constantly doing that with fidelity and with consistency, you literally can create this type of massive momentum. It's not just for me. This is up for the taking for anybody who's willing to put in the work and have the belief that God wants to bless you in the same way that he's blessed me. So I could say more, but I think that's all I've got for now.
I love that, Robin. I want to ask you something too, just like a coaching question, because I talk to so many people and I relate to this. There's a deep fear in what if I work so hard and I don't hit my goal? And I'm very familiar with kind of that fear of failure. And so what do you say to people who say, well, I just want to, and I'm going to, because I hear people couch it in spiritual terms all the time. I don't want to push this month. It needs to happen organically, which is always fascinating to me because it's organic no matter what. But what do you say to people who say, I'm just going to wait. I don't want to push yet. And that the motive behind that statement is fear.
I mean, honestly, in my coaching sessions, I just call stuff like I see it. I just say, I'm sensing a lot of fear in what you're saying. Tell me why you're fearful. And they'll say, if they're slightly self-aware, they'll begin to divulge what that is. If they're not, and if they aren't very self-aware, then that's a coachable moment for me to say, hey, like, I think you've got your head in the sand. And so I will say that, like, hey, let's look at the reality here. And then I'll try to unpeel the layers of that onion to help them to see that what's coming out of their mouth isn't really reality. Like it's not rational. Because a lot of the things that people say out of fear, it is not rational, and so you have to help them to see that it's irrational in order for them to kind of get their head out of the sand and be like, okay, yeah, you're right. Why would I be thinking like that? So kind of coaching around that, but also, I would venture to say that when I see people that are pumping the brakes, that's really my terminology that I use. Say, I see you pumping the brakes on your own accomplishments and your own goals. Tell me why you're doing that when you just said you wanted to make $1,000 and you made $300 last month. So that's another reason why the coaching form is so important, because I'm able to put right back on them what they put on paper. It's on paper. It's what they've written down. And so very easily you can help them to see kind of like the flawed thinking that they have. Does that make sense?
It totally does. Okay, one more question, because I think we still see folks who struggle with their direct sales, incredible opportunity, this business that we have, and they struggle because they're still using a mindset that I'm reaching out in selfishness. Can you help us shift to what we have to offer, especially right now in 2020, in this very season?
Yeah. So one of the things that I did right when the pandemic hit was I got front and center in front of my team on lives, on coaching calls, on team calls. I mean, multiple ways I kept like getting in their face, like, no. We're not pumping the brakes. We're not about to be fearful that we're going to reach out to somebody who's had to file for unemployment. Because in all honesty, a lot of people that have filed for unemployment are doing better now than they were when they had a regular job. Okay. So I'm like, they actually have money now to buy Plexus they didn't before. So I really try to help people to see right now is the absolute perfect storm. Like, and the storm is not over. Like back in February, March, it was the perfect storm. It's still it's even more of the perfect storm because this crap has not gone away. Like I think a lot of people in February and the beginning of March and even end of March, they were like, oh, this is not gonna be a thing. This isn't really gonna affect us. And like now we realize, oh no, this is not going away. This is like real, like Spanish flu pandemic 1918. Like this is legit. Like, so we've got to pivot. We've got to figure out how are we going to create a new normal. And so I help people to see these are the biggest things. And I said this in the very beginning. Zoom is no longer a barrier. Utilize the heck out of Zoom. Okay. Even if you hear your friends saying, oh, I got Zoom fatigue, who cares? Hop on the Zoom. Okay. The other thing that I try to help people to see is now more than ever, we should be more bold, confident, and convicted about sharing about this business opportunity and sharing about our products, because these are the two things that everybody on the planet actually needs right now. Improved immunity, helping their kids get healthier if these jokers do have to go back to school in August, and helping people to see that if you do not have what Susie Orman just said, an 8 months emergency fund, which I would venture to say most people do not probably 98% of the population does not have an emergency fund at 8 months sitting in the bank, that you have no other choice but then to be thinking about a second, third, fourth, fifth stream of income. Like you would be crazy not to. And this is exactly how we talk to people. Like you'd be crazy not to. Like, huh? Who can go make $1,000 in sharing with 10 people? Who can make that type of money with these fast start bonuses, y'all? People on my team legit are making $1,000, $2,000 in 30 days. Easily. And so we cannot, I try to help people to see how selfish we really are if we are wanting to keep this to ourselves. That's like me saying, oh, I went diamond and now I'm going diamond gold and I'm too scared to tell people about this opportunity. Really? Like that's insanity, because there's more people that are literally sitting in their beds trying to figure out how they're going to make ends meet and how they're going to pay these bills than there are people worrying about not being able to boo-boo and having migraine headaches. I mean, let's just keep it all the way real. So if we're just like, oh, I'm just going to be a helper and I'm just going to talk about the products and how they can help their kiddos and help them with their immunity and help them with their digestive issues, if that's all we're talking about, we're missing a really huge piece of this business. Which is really sharing the financial opportunity. So those are just the things that I'm consistently sharing to get people out of their heads. And when you take yourself out of it and you put other people, you put others first. I mean, I just think about this as I'm thinking of other people. And when I changed my perspective about that years ago, my business began to flourish and has continued to since then, because I made it not about me. So I don't get caught up in the no's. I don't get caught up on the you ignored me. Oh, I don't get caught up in you going into witness protection. I don't get caught up in that, because I literally legit feel like I'm offering a gift to people. And so if I'm offering a gift to you, why would I not keep offering it until you accept it? So that's kind of my thought process and what I explained to my team.
I love this. This has been like gold to me personally. It's so true that as leaders, especially, we have to keep getting our cups filled. So you filled my cup today, and I want to say thank you, friend. And I know everyone on this call and everyone who listens later will feel the same. I'm grateful to you for serving us with your time, and I'm really, really excited for your team. Please tell them that like another sister sideline team is so proud of them and excited for them, and they are literally paving the way for us. So thank you so much, Robin.
Thank you guys. I appreciate y'all for having me. Mwah. Y'all have a good day.